Opening ceremonies. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And join me for a moment of silent prayer. Amen. This is a special meeting for the City Council, primarily concerning our budget, but we had a few other issues that kind of came up that we thought we would address while we were meeting. So you have the agenda in front of you, and I'm looking for a motion to approve the agenda.
Support.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Agenda item 4 is the fiscal year 2023-2024 comprehensive annual report, and we welcome Justin Jacobsma and Kent. Thank you, Justin, for coming.
Thank you, everyone.
From Williams and Company, correct?
Yep, from Williams and Company, just here to present the FY24 audited financial statements. This will be pretty high level and short, just trying to highlight things I would want to know if I was in your guys' shoes. So starting on just page 10 that's where we're issuing our opinion. In the second paragraph on page 10, you can see there where we issue the opinion and basically have an unmodified or clean opinion is what we call that. So just want to point that out. Next, I want to jump to page 29 and 30. This is going to be the balance sheet for the governmental funds. So your utility funds would not be presented on these financial statements. If you do look down on the left-hand side, page 29, the general fund, you can see an unassigned fund balance towards the bottom of the general fund of $3.4 million. The general fund in FY24 had a little over $6.1 million of expenses, which is on the next page. But if you took the 6.1 and divided it by 365 to get an average daily cost to run the general fund, it was about $16,800. Okay, so the general fund, the unassigned fund balance, could run the general fund for approximately 190 days. Okay, that's under the assumption like, oh, there's no revenue coming into the city, which isn't realistic for the most part. But that's a way to judge or get a gauge of how strong your unassigned fund balance is within the general fund. Last year, the city, FY23, had 186 days in the unassigned fund balance, so very consistent.
And that's a good number, in your opinion?
Yeah. You know, we like to see 90 to 120 days because that gets you into property tax time. You know, some cities have more. Then you kind of go into the discussion, what's the city's role, or should they be accumulating resources or not? But yeah, 90 to 120, I think is a solid number.
Okay.
Then I want to jump to page 32 and 33. This is a statement of revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund balance, again, for the governmental funds, so this does not include the enterprise funds. So on page 33, the furthest column over to the right, you can see total revenue was $9.7 million for FY24. In FY23, it was also $9.7 million. So total revenue was very similar. Property tax revenue within that column, the first number on total governmental funds column there, 3.9, that was up about 5.5% from last year. Total expenditures, so towards the middle of page 33, you can see total expenditures of $10.9 million. In FY23, that was $11.5 million. So total expenditures were down for the governmental funds. A lot of that was related just to some capital projects that were going on between years. That was the biggest change there. And then one last thing, the net change in fund balance, which is towards the bottom. So the overall net change in fund balance for the governmental funds was $192,000. Again, that's on page 33 on the right, furthest column to the right towards the bottom. Any questions on that? If not, I'll jump to page 37 and 38. This is the statement of revenues, expenses, and changes in net position. So this is for the utility funds of the city. And really, I just want to point out on page 38, you'll see towards the middle there on the total column, 1.7 million. So that's the operating income of the enterprise funds for FY24. Sometimes you see cities where there's operating losses within them, but for FY24, every utility had operating income or profit for those utility funds. Now there are some non-operating income and expenses that occur after that number, but that changes every year. That's why it's called non-operating. Okay. Any questions on that, on the enterprise fund? Then I'm going to jump to page 76 and 78. This is just the budget to actual. Just want to point out a couple things real quick. On page 77 towards the middle, and on 76 you can look at expenditures right in the middle of the page. So if you scroll over to your right within the expenditure area, you can see on the furthest column to the right, like final budget favorable and unfavorable. So within the expenditures, there were 4 functions that were over budget. And we see this often because it's hard to amend the budget and make sure you're under. In fact, most cities that I audit, they're typically over budget in something. So there is a finding in there because that is against state code to be over budget. So I just want to point that out. And that just try to amend the budget and catch all those items. Then I want to jump to page 114. When we audit, we're looking for perfection. And when I mean perfection, we come in and look at financial statements and financial records, and we don't want to propose journal entries to our government clients. And if we don't have to propose journal entries, then they're not going to have any internal control findings because, they were perfect. It's a very high expectation. So we did have a internal control finding. It's a material weakness because of journal entries we were proposed to the city. And that's noted on page 114. And again, I just want to remind everyone, we're looking for perfection. I don't have any clients currently, cities that is, we don't have a material weakness because of journal entries we're proposing. There's just a lot of transactions going on and it's hard to be perfect, but I still want to bring that to your attention as city council that, it's important to ask questions, review financial information that's provided to you guys, because you're a part of the control structure here at the city.
But it's okay if we think Kent's perfect, isn't it?
Yeah, that's fine. No comment. No.
I would say Kent's a legend in his own mind.
He is.
No, but otherwise, that's all I had. We actually, Kent submitted the audit to earlier this year than the past few years. So, we're ahead of schedule, and that's not all us. That's a lot of the people we get to work with. So we really appreciate that. I know there's a gal, Rachel, that's been a part of this audit, kind of leads the charge, honestly, for a number of years. That works for Williams & Company, and her and Kent really work well together. So it's we appreciate being able to serve the city of Orange City. So, any questions related to the audit? And if you do have questions subsequent to this, I work out of Lamar's office. Please give me a call. Otherwise, that's all I have.
Thank you for your work. So what we're looking for is a motion to approve this? Is that right? Okay, so is there a motion to approve the fiscal year 2023-2024 comprehensive annual report? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Agenda item 5 is Assistant Event Center Manager, and I think Kent is going to fill us in on that. That's okay.
Sorry about that.
You're not perfect.
No, I am not. Number 5, so yes, Jess and I, our assistant manager left at the end of November, and we went through the process of advertising, and we had about maybe 10 to 12 resumes that came in. And so we went through the process and interviewed maybe 3 to 5 candidates. And we're coming back to you here this afternoon with our recommendation for our assistant manager to be Madison Follett. So she is, she's married, and currently they are part of, at the college at one of the residential halls. And so she will be giving her notice where she works and starting, hopefully, based on our recommendation here in a couple weeks. But we're really excited to have her start. And yeah, process went the way it was supposed to. It went well. So, any questions in regards to that? Or she is, she's got experience. She currently works in a very close neighborhood here in the event center area. So she's
She had worked a little bit for
she had
us
worked
as a college student.
You
right?
are correct. Thank you, Earl.
So
Yes,
Jess was
thank
very
you.
familiar with her and was really excited when she had applied. So.
Yep.
That's good. That's good.
That's all I have. But any other questions?
Is that salary pretty close to being in line with the previous?
Yes, it's exactly right on, actually. Thanks, Brett.
Yeah, perfect. Thanks. Is there a motion to approve the hiring of Madison Follett? Is that correct?
I
Follett?
think that's how you say it. Yep.
As assistant manager? Support.
Thank you.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Agenda item number 6 is the Salem Avenue Development. It is Exhibit 1 in your packet, and Ryan
Good
is
evening,
going
everyone.
to help us with that.
Our Perry conversation again from last week, we made those adjustments to the contract. Brad, thank you for your timely response. And it would really essentially be item number 1, removing the church lot out of the equation, so it really truly is just the OCDC lot and the City of Orange City lot. And then the second thing that was amended was point number 5, which added a sunset to the agreement. If our Perry has not developed the entirety of the above described property by July 1st, 2035, our Perry shall transfer that portion of the described property back to the City of Orange City. So just requesting that you would approve this. There was a conversation about perhaps splitting a south portion and a north portion, and a quick conversation with our Perry. They would not be interested in that. So if you do want to do that, our Perry would most likely be pulling out of the equation. So
As far as 0.5, you mean?
as far as splitting a south portion and letting our Perry basically develop their 12 plexes and then having the north be something that would be a future agreement with our Perry, they were not interested in looking at that.
So they want to do the whole thing.
They want to do the whole thing.
That's good.
They're very interested in everything.
Any questions on that, or is there a motion to approve this
Is the
agreement?
10 years, Daryl, is that similar to what you were talking about last time, proposed, or was yours more of on a?
We talked about as they apply the different pieces, sometime after that, this sort of accomplishes the same thing.
Yeah, it would.
Gives them enough time to develop the whole thing.
Yeah, and my last conversation with Dave was they would want to move forward with things in an expedient fashion because of the TIF agreement. The more that they can get done on the front end, the greater their tax incentive, or TIF incentive.
Any other questions? Brad, you have anything else, or?
No, I think what Ryan said is what I prepared, so.
Good.
I move that we agree to this
Agreement?
development.
Okay. Is there support for that?
Support.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Ryan, for that. Agenda item number 7 is, it's a time that we're going to enter into a closed session per Iowa Code Section 21.5.1C concerning a possible litigation. So we do need to have a motion to that effect. We don't need a roll call, do we, Jenna?
No.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And then we will come out of closed session to finish up our budget discussions. So